I looked at my magic crystal ball, and it told me who's going to win all of the games in the Big 12 this weekend, and therefore I put together my best bets with the magic crystal ball. Here's who you should pick. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Thursday night, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast. Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. Why are the best bets at night? I don't know, man. I thought I'd do the squad show in the morning, do the best bets at night. So here we are. You, me, hanging out. You hit subscribe and get to keep my job. So, first best bet. I think that Cincinnati is going to beat Arizona by 7 points. And you're saying, what? No. I'm an Arizona fan. I don't think it's going to happen. Here's one thing I want to show you. Before I get all advanced metrics on your butt. Look at the numbers for the last few games for Arizona. Dating back to that BYU game, they lost by 6, double overtime. Noah Fafita, 219 passing yards. 269 against Houston. 213 against Colorado. 158 against Kansas. No one has ran the ball for more than 91 yards in all 4 of those games. No one has caught the ball for more than 106 yards, and that's regressed. 38 receiving yards was the high in that game against Kansas. Arizona not playing great football. That Colorado win 52-17 is awesome. The Kansas win 24-20. Thought it should have been more dominant. They had to come back late to win it. Their loss to BYU was in their hands. Their loss to Houston was in their hands. And they said, nah, we're just going to give it up. This game against Cincinnati is a Cincinnati team coming off of a bye week who, outside of that Utah game, has been incredible this season. Had that 3-point loss to Nebraska. But I really like the Cincinnati team still. And the more they win, honestly, the more the Big 12 Conference wins. So I do think that Cincinnati pulls off the win at home at a 10 a.m. mental clock game against Arizona. Another piece of this, and a pretty big piece of this, how good analytically the offense of Cincinnati has been. Number 10, EPA efficiency-wise. Throwing the football. Number 7, running the football. Give me Cincinnati to win it. 27-17. 30-20. 10-point win. Cincinnati covers 6.5. I like that. Kansas State at Oklahoma State, minus 19.5. I'm going to warn you now. This is a trigger warning. Please do not show the following to your children. What I'm about to show you are Oklahoma State's efficiency metrics. Ooh. Number 123 against the pass. Number 73 against the rush. Number 131 in available yards percentage. Effectively, if there's a yard available for you, you're going to get it. They're going to give it to you. Terrible starting field position. 126th on 3rd and 4th down success. Not good. They allow you to get a 3rd or 4th down conversion. A whopping 51% of the time. Their offense, 129th throwing it, 129th running it, 126th throwing it. Both of those, terrible. Kansas State just needs to win. Hey, Avery Johnson fighting for draft spot. Everybody else fighting for draft spot. Do you come back? What do you do? I don't know. But you need to win this game by 21, and they will win it by 21, thus covering, good math, the 19.5. I think West Virginia is hot enough right now to cover double digits in a game where they're playing Arizona State, and they're playing Arizona State on the road. I know that's kind of ballsy, but I'm going to go with the Mountaineers here to at least make this game competitive. And I don't, man, like if I share with you the like look at this, ESPN, they're projected who's going to win the game. West Virginia has a 14% chance. To this day, no, it just changed. Scotty Fox Jr. now has the most passing yards of anybody this season. And yeah, he's not great. His stats aren't awesome, but Sam Leavitt's out for the year for Arizona State. West Virginia is super hot, red hot. And Scotty Fox Jr. has been good enough. They've kind of had to piece this whole thing together. But the kids want to play, man. The kids want to play for West Virginia. They all get it. They have 2 straight wins, 7-point victory against Colorado that was gutsy. They controlled Houston and won that game 45-35, 10-point win against a top 25 opponent on the road. Against TCU, they only lost by 6. They're climbing. They're getting better and better. Arizona State, yeah, they won at Iowa State. That's pretty good. As Houston lost, nobody saw that coming. And honestly, even coming off a bye week, just the momentum of West Virginia. I'm riding it up. Arizona State wins, but not by 10.5. They may win 24-14, 24-17, but 10.5 is all we need right here. West Virginia may not win, but they'll cover. Good teams win. Great teams cover. Utah is currently, at the time of recording, a 7.5-point favorite against the fighting Baylor Bears. I'm going to buy it down because that's what my mom tells me to do. I'm going to buy this game down to 7 points at minus 120. At the same time, I'm going to tell you this because I believe it. I'm looking you in the eyes. You're looking me in the eyes. Utah is going to win this game by 45 points. As many points as humanly possible. The alternate spread. 1 million points. I think BYU, like the over-under is at 60.5 because I do believe Vegas is completely ready for Utah to score 60 points themselves. They need to keep winning games and in big fashion to position themselves well for the college football playoff. I'm personally rooting for Utah to win by 1 million points so they position the Big 12 in a better spot for the college football playoff. That's right. Rooting against my own alma mater. How it stings. Because I think that Utah needs to win this game the same way they beat Cincinnati, 45-14, Colorado, 53-7. Their loss to BYU, 24-21, but before that, beat Arizona State, 42-10. West Virginia, 48-14. Baylor, on the other hand, 1-2 in their last three. And they've beaten the easy teams, I should say. The good games. Hey, this is good for us. They've beaten those teams. Awesome. That's not this week. That's not what you have this week. Then there's BYU and TCU. Again, on behalf of the entire Big 12 conference, I hope that BYU wins this game by more points than I can even fathom. Do you understand that if there's an infinite number of numbers, that quintillion is a number? I could say quintillion, and a physicist say, that's not a number. What are you talking about? But if it's infinite, somewhere in there, infinite, egg is a number. That is the number I need BYU to win this game by in order for the College Football Playoff Committee to go, shoot, the Cougars are good. This is an ungodly late game, 10:15 Eastern. I'm yawning thinking about it. BYU's defense is very good against the pass. It's all really TCU's good at. They're number 132 in the country, the Horned Frogs, 132 in the nation out of like 136 FBS teams at running the football. They can't do it. They're bad at it. BYU's rush defense isn't elite, but it's good enough. It's good enough. Better than 132. They should win this game because of the defense and the offense of BYU. Number 50 in the country throwing the football, number 26 running it. These are efficiency metrics. And TCU's number 84 against the pass. This is where Baron Morton will not play. This is where Bear Bachmeier, though, will open up. Tell Aaron Roderick, open up the passing game. Open up the playbook a little bit. We'll gash TCU if we can. And hopefully that's the case for the Big 12. So there they are. That's what I think is going to happen this week. I get ultimate confidence that I'm going to be right. Cincinnati -7, -6.5 against Arizona. Kansas State -19.5 at Oklahoma State. West Virginia on the road at Arizona State +10.5. Utah at Baylor -17 million. BYU -4.5 at home. Vampire Cougs. You got to have it, boys. Kalani, I'm not going to ask you a lot of favors in my lifetime, but Kalani Sitake, you play this clip in the locker room. If you all want to go to the college football playoff, and I want you there, I want every Big 12 team there. If you want to go to the college football playoff, you need to win every game the rest of the way by 17 million points. It is the only thing that's going to get you in no matter what. Go to the Big 12 title, lose it. But win every game of the regular season by 17 million. Watch the teams ahead of you fall, and all of it's going to be okay. It's all gravy from there. If you can do that, man, I'll be happy. Wouldn't you know that today's show is brought to you by FanDuel? FanDuel is exactly where I've gone during the NBA season. Yeah, I'm a Spurs fan. And the Spurs have been doing the winning thing finally. And not only is that a winning culture and a winning team, but it's winning me money. The NBA being back means there's no better place to get in on that action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, Combine your live bets into same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. Keeps every game exciting. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game. With FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. At FanDuel, go to FanDuel.com. Do it today.
So we're going to get into a little BYU and Utah talk and dive around the Big 12 conference and more. We'll do so on the ESPN The Fan call-in line as our friend Drake C. Toll joins us. It's your mom's favorite partier on the line. How you doing, Drake C. Toll? Glad to have you back on.
Yeah, I'm living large. The Big 12's got a team right now in the top 6 in college football, and I feel confident that we're getting a team in at least one that can compete at the top of this sport, and I can't complain if that's where we're sitting as of November 13th.
Hey, before we dive too deep into the Big 12 rankings and everything else that we're going to talk about here in this conversation, I do want to go all the way back to the last time we had you on the program. That was in downtown Provo as part of the remote with Alex Markham, where we kind of went back and forth there. Tell us about your experience with the Holy War, BYU-Utah matchup. Fox Big Noon Kickoff was in town. What'd you think about the whole thing? Give us your recap of the weekend.
It was awesome. I mean, that was one of the most special weekends I've seen in college football, and I've watched games in Tuscaloosa at night. There's nothing in the SEC, there's nothing in the Big 12, nothing in the ACC, and maybe a game or two in the Big 10 that can compare to what you get when BYU and Utah meet. And a big portion of that is the uniqueness of the fan bases. It's called the Holy War for a reason. There is a faith that's in the middle of this game, and there's really no two ways of getting around it. These two teams, these two universities, these two fan bases are by and large predicated on that faith, as is the large portion of the area. And when you have the flagship schools of said faith go toe-to-toe, it creates a dynamic you don't get anywhere else. And for me, walking into Lavelle to see the Holy War for the first time there, comparing it to Rice Eccles last year, just an incredible example of what college football still is in the modern era and what Big 12 football can be. I was blown away.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal weekend and a great game to cap it all off as well. And we had a lot of fun that weekend also. BYU, of course, now 8-1 after the loss to Texas Tech. Utah 7-2 overall. Both of those two teams find themselves at 12-13 respectively in the latest rendition of the college football playoffs. Texas Tech comes in at number 6. What did you think about specifically where each Big 12 team fell in the college football playoff rankings and how this could possibly play out to the potential of maybe the Big 12 getting 3 teams in? Is there potential of that happening?
Still certainly a potential for 3. The most shocking part of this for me is how the committee is going to value what you have done for me lately. And an example of that is Ole Miss playing the Citadel. They could have won by 100, but they still would have been jumped by Texas Tech, who got a top 10 win. They're going to penalize you for playing a game this late in the season against William and Mary. And having that as a distinction helps me know that if down the road BYU does beat Cincinnati, if BYU does beat TCU this weekend, they've got a chance to jump up. And that's what goes hand in hand with how the Big 12 could get 3 in. I was surprised ultimately that 7-2 Notre Dame, who has 2 losses, granted one of them is against a top 3 team in the country, the other kind of a flailing Miami. And then Texas has a loss to a team that fired its coach and a loss to the number 1 team in the nation. Oklahoma, they're a school that got blown out by Texas, who sits at 10 right now. And the committee always loves to argue, well, when this game or that game happened, the team they played wasn't the same team, or they weren't the same. Their defense hadn't developed yet. Well, which is it? Did they lose the game? Did they win the game? Or were they not the same team? I think the BYU, as a one-loss team who has a couple of wins in their back pocket that look impressive. Like the road win against Iowa State is really good on your resume. The amount of road wins BYU has from Colorado to Arizona to even ECU is not the easiest game in the world to go on the road. You won on the road. You blew them out on the road. Them being at 12, I thought was a disservice to BYU. I could see them at 9, 10, 11. But on the other hand, win the games. If you had beaten Texas Tech and proven that you are one of the top teams in the country, then you deserve to be 6, 5, somewhere in this ranking. And then for Utah at 13 at 7-2, I think that's kind of the key here is if BYU, Utah, and Texas Tech all continue winning, we're on a possible crash course for the Big 12 to get 3 teams in. At 10-2, if Utah is outside of the Big 12 championship game, really all they have to do is win and jump those 3 spots to get to that 10 hole. If they're in the 10 hole, they're going to the college football playoff. For BYU, you win, go to the Big 12 championship and are number 8 in the country in that game. You lose that game, they're not going to penalize you. They didn't penalize SMU last year. You're still in the college football playoff. To me, this showcases that there's still a way to get 3 in. It's not going to be easy, but what you desperately need is a Notre Dame loss to Pitt. You need a Texas loss here. Oklahoma to lose to Alabama. Texas has Georgia. They need to lose that game. They need to lose to A&M. Oregon could slip up here late. If those things happen, the Big 12's got a shot to get 3 in. I think there's still a clear enough path, but the clear path doesn't make it an easy path.
I like the optimism that you're showing here, but in the past years to the College Football Playoff Committee, I've been just trained to be disappointed with the decisions that they make year in and year out. I personally think if BYU makes it to the conference championship game, they end up losing, and let's say maybe they get blown out by Texas Tech again. It's a second loss. Do they drop so far as to Utah might jump them? Utah gets a college football playoff spot, but since BYU lost the championship game to Texas Tech and maybe got blown out, are they left out of the college football playoff collectively? And imagine the backlash from BYU fans and what we're dealing with here in the state of Utah if that were the case and scenario that ends up happening.
Yeah, it would be a disgrace. And it's not a disgrace necessarily to BYU. It's a disgrace to college football. You cannot tell me that I must play an extra game, risk losing an extra game. And then if I lose that, you're going to take me out of the college football playoff. Whereas Utah got to sit at home, not lose a game, and they get to go to the playoff. And the same goes if BYU is to lose a game and by some weird tiebreaker, Utah and Cincinnati, BYU are all knotted up at the top, and they say, okay, well, we're going to let Utah in. I mean, there are a couple of these scenarios where these ties get crazy, where Houston's in the fold, and we got to go by points versus opponents and all kinds of crazy. Let's say it's Texas Tech and Utah, and the same thing happens. Utah gets blown out again, and then BYU gets to jump at 10-2 into the playoff, and Utah is held out. Like, I just don't. If we're playing that game and risking a Big 12 team being bounced from the playoff because of it, then just don't play the game. If we end the season, Tech 11-1, BYU 11-1, Utah 10-2, and you're all sitting there at number 5, number 8, and number 10, then what's the point of a Big 12 championship game? You're all going to the college football playoff anyway. Let's just throw up the white flag and say, great, we're not playing in Arlington if it means that we can all compete for a national championship. The biggest portion of this, in my opinion, is that the committee needs to establish the way they did last year that the conference championships do not matter when it comes to who gets into the college football playoff if you lose. SMU still got in. I think if the loser of the Big 12 championship is punted out of the college football playoff, it proves it's a broken system, and it's just not something the Big 12 can put up with. And from there, I think you erase the conference title game. I love it. I love going to Arlington. I've been multiple times. It's a great atmosphere to see the best 2 teams in this conference duke it out and square off. But if that game is detrimental to your odds to go play for a national championship, then I don't want to play that game anymore. I should also mention, though, if we think about the college football playoff as it is meant to be drawn out, we're looking for a national champion. And if you tell me that Texas Tech is way better than BYU and way better than Texas Tech or Utah, I should say, if you tell me Texas Tech's just the best team in the Big 12, as long as they're in the college football playoff, that's your best shot at a national championship. When we were at 4 teams, it feels like Texas Tech would squarely be in that conversation right now. When we were at 4 teams, we were trying to find who's the best team in America. Is that BYU? No, Texas Tech is better. Is it Utah? No, Texas Tech is better. Therefore, if the Red Raiders get in, the Big 12 at least has their bell cow trying to compete to win it all. At the same time, I don't think that point should exclude BYU or Utah from at least having a chance. Today's show is brought to you by Supply House. That's exactly where I've gone. I bought a new house in February, whether it's new repair or getting the crew moving forward on getting that HVAC system set up. Supply House is the place to go. Over 280,000 parts, plumbing, electrical, all of it. Real-time inventory, honest lead times, keep you from punting projects, keep that HVAC in line. Need farts passed? Need old farts? Supply House, next day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Join the free Trade Master program today. Score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, dedicated support line, supplyhouse.com to sign up for free. Promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. Supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service, all that, more. Supplyhouse.com. Thanks for making this show your first listen every single day. If you parlay that all together, it's plus 2,335 on the Beast 12 parlay. This has been and always will be Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.
Drake Toll is with us here. He's the host of the Locked On Big 12 podcast for the next couple of minutes on Bryson Bianucci, 103.9 and 98.3 ESPN, The Fan. It's an interesting conversation because coming up here November, December, all of these conference commissioners still have to get together and decide what the heck's going to happen next year as they try to expand to a 16-team playoff, or maybe they don't, maybe they just throw it all out. But Yormark has talked multiple times about different playoff formats and what the best one would be for the Big 12 moving forward. What do you think needs to happen for the Big 12 to get the best shot at the most teams in the playoff with an expanded playoff in the near future, which that conversation's about to jumpstart back up with them having to vote on all of this come December?
Yeah, Brett Yormark's big thing that he lobbied for was equity at the top. And it sounded really weird, actually, 3 months ago to the rest of the country when Yormark said, hey, if you get 4 automatic qualifiers, so 3 automatic qualifiers as the SEC, we should too as the Big 12. And then this year happened. This college football season proves that if the SEC gets 3 automatic and the Big 12 gets 3 and the ACC, which that would be a travesty right now, but the Big 10's also in that conversation, that this league at least deserves the same respect as Texas, as an Oklahoma, as an Alabama, as an Ohio State, as a Michigan, as these big brands. We deserve the same respect. You're giving these brands passes to your little college football playoff party. We as the Big 12 now have 3 schools in the top 13 that are all knocking on the door of competing for a national championship. I would like to see the Utah defense face off against Oregon. I would like to see the BYU defense, that linebacking core, face off against Fernando Mendoza and Indiana. I would love to see Texas Tech's defense face off against a Notre Dame offense that I'm still not buying when it comes to the pass game. That's the beauty of college football, seeing these non-conference matchups when glory is on the line. The best format is a format where the Big 12 gets equal representation. If they say we'll give the SEC 4, we'll give the Big 10 4, we'll give the Big 12 2, we'll give the ACC 2, and then automatic qualifiers from there up to 16, we will lose. We will lose as a conference. And I firmly believe that this season has given a great example of how the Big 12 is growing up. Yeah, last season, the year prior, we weren't ready to compete on the national stage. We weren't ready to win a national championship. You could even argue that TCU year, the way they were blown out by Georgia, set the conference back a little bit just because of how they lost that game. People forget about the Michigan semifinal win. Therefore, what you needed was a year like this to prove we have the investment, we have the studs, we have the defenses to win big games. And even if we don't get to decide how many automatic qualifiers the Big 12 gets before this year's playoff is finished up, and we will not, I think you'll learn at the end of this year's bracket, this conference is legit and this conference is here to stay.
All right, Drake, I do want to get your thoughts on this coming week of college football around the Big 12, because I thought it was interesting. On Monday, when they were set to announce the kickoff times for Saturday, November the 22nd, every single game except for Oklahoma State and UCF was put into the 6-day selection window. That tells me only one thing. The TV executives are very worried about chaos happening in the Big 12 this weekend. Is Cincinnati on upset alert with Arizona? Is BYU on upset alert with TCU? Is Utah on upset alert with Baylor on the road?
If Cincinnati loses to Arizona, Baylor beats Utah, and BYU falls to TCU, I will quit Locked On Big 12. I will go into a dark place somewhere, and I will just hide. I'll go on whatever Aaron Rodgers went on in the offseason is what I'll do. Soul searching. That would be detrimental to this conference. And I haven't even thought about the possibility because, again, I want to go back to the point that I just mentioned, and it segues really well here. This league feels different. The message from Kalani Sitake, I'll start there, after the Utah win was, hey, we'll celebrate. Let's be excited. But remember, you all have to play a game against Iowa State next week. We lost this game in the same spot last year. So if you do not stay focused, we will lose. And now Utah understands. BYU understands. It's no secret anymore. Cincinnati understands. You need to win every game in front of you by as many points as physically possible. You need to create a new number of points that no one knew existed and win by that many against Arizona, TCU, and Baylor to say, College Football Playoff Committee, look at me. This is who you're getting against a 6-3 TCU above 500 bowl team, 5-4 Baylor with a stud quarterback, Arizona 6-3 above 500 bowl team with a stud quarterback. These are three solid teams that could slip up and scare you. What these schools that are in the top 25 have to do is put the hammer down, win these contests by as many points as humanly possible right out of there and say, College Football Playoff Committee, I'm playing my best ball right now. Respect me. And I do think this year's air feels a little bit different. These teams seem prepared to actually compete, whereas last year BYU slipped up. And last year you got to the end of the year and Iowa State lost its firepower. And you're wondering, okay, could Colorado? Nope, Colorado lost its firepower. This year feels different to me.
All right, Drake. One thing I do have to ask you about Utah traveling to Baylor. Of course, you're a Baylor alum. What do Utah fans need to know about Waco, and what do you think about this game coming up on Saturday with Utah and Baylor?
Yeah, Waco's one of the most underrated spots in the Big 12, actually. From Magnolia, seeing where Chip and Joanna got it all started, to Cameron Park, this beautiful overlook over the Bosque River that shows you 7 different towns. You can see all the water towers, the different towns in the surrounding area. There are plenty due to Chip and Joanna. Plenty of good brunch spots. That's all the rave now. And it's just historic. You go down historic downtown Waco. You take a Waco tour. You go out and you enjoy an afternoon at Foster Pavilion, one of the brand new facilities the Big 12 has to offer in basketball. Or you walk USA Today's number 17 most beautiful campus in all of America. I mean, there are Ivy League schools that Baylor beats out because of how pretty its campus is, from the Baylor Sciences Building to Patton F. Hall, a ton of poster card shots that are on that campus in Waco. And so I'd go out and just enjoy the city as much as you can if you're there on Friday. Saturday, since it's a night game, go see the live Bears, 2 live North American black bears on campus. Go drive through town. There are plenty of those houses Chip and Joanna have redone that are beautiful. Lake Waco is one of the largest lakes in the state of Texas. And plenty in Waco that doesn't get enough recognition. And as beautiful and great, graceful, and nice as Waco is, Baylor sucks, man. Like this football team is just, if Utah doesn't win this game by 14, 17, 21, I'd be hard pressed. The UCF win for the Bears on homecoming was good. They're coming off a bye week, but man, I've watched this team closely this year, and every game has been too close. Every game has not made sense, and their losses have not looked good. TCU being unable to close out a comeback and just getting kind of run over. The score wasn't indicative of how bad TCU won that game. Cincinnati, they got mowed over, especially late against the Bearcats. That Kansas State game was still while Kansas State was reeling. Oklahoma State, they allowed 27 points and didn't play well. It's a Baylor team that has underachieved this year. I love Sawyer Robertson. I still think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12, but he's struggled a little bit down the stretch. I just don't think there's enough juice in this Baylor squad. And right now, they're in kind of fire the coach mode. I don't think the crowd's going to be a factor whatsoever for Utah. This is a game that Utes should win by double digits. If they don't deserve to be a top 15 team in the country.
Well, speaking of the coach, Drake, I wanted to ask you, is Dave Aranda, well, let me preface this. Ross Dellinger just came out on Twitter and said the AD, Mac Rhodes, is taking a leave of absence for personal reasons from Baylor. Does that affect whether they fire Dave Aranda? What do you see happening here?
Dumpster fire. I mean, this is similar to what it looked like at LSU over the course of the last month. And from Mac Rhodes putting his hand on a player to putting his hand on the neck of a coach, to the College Football Playoff Committee chairman being a guy who is at the top of college football right now and still can't act right. That's just not good. And now it's on the president, Linda Livingstone. Javon Overshone is the assistant athletic director. She is bang up. She's spectacular at what she does. And I really hope to see her fall into a role where she helps hire the next coach, if that's what it comes to. But now, I mean, I just don't know who makes that decision. I don't see, from what I've heard, Linda Livingstone making that decision. This is not a good situation in Waco right now. It's as bad as it's been in a long time. And so I want to be very clear that the firing of Dave Aranda has been put on hold to babysit your athletic director, and that's not a good thing.
All right, he's Drake Toll. You can find him on the Locked On Big 12 podcast. Make sure you go and give him a follow on social media as well. Drake, thanks so much for your time here this morning, and we'll chat with you here soon, okay, my friend?
Always fun, guys. Let's do it again quickly.
Sounds good. That is Drake Toll. Make sure you can go and give him a follow, subscribe to his podcast, wherever.
You hear that about Mac? Nuts, man. Crazy. Does it around it.